Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman are the classic short man, insecure of tall, successful woman archetype, and you cannot reinvent the wheel. And celebrities show us how often you cannot reinvent the wheel. Think about Beyonce. Think about all of these beautiful women that, okay, so right now they're separated and going through a divorce, and he already has a girlfriend. Now, when she was working so much, I don't know about you, but I was kind of like, is everything okay at home? Because it seemed like she was working so much that she was trying to get away from her life, which now apparently they've been separated over a year, so that might have been kind of true, at least partly. And the thing is, like, when a woman is so successful, so apparently there's been interviews of him getting angry when he's asked about Nicole. Now, I got my head ripped off for talking about how Mr. Biles talked about Simone in that interview. But this is what I'm saying. The way men get triggered when they're asked about their wife and they feel the need to dismiss them or belittle them, that's a bad instinct. In my opinion, that shows a big insecurity in your wife's bigness. If you have to belittle it or you have to. So apparently Keith Urban, when he would be asked about Nicole, he would be like, I'm not going to talk about my wife. I know you want to get me to talk about her, but I'm not gonna. Like, actually though. And then at the end, the interviewer said something about, are you proud of Nicole? And he was like, of course. And he was like, after this whole interview, of course you're going to try and get me to talk about my wife one more time at the end. That's your wife. And it also goes to show the way men think of a wife, right? Because I think it's difficult when a woman is so successful in her own right, but she still has this part of her that wants to be nurtured and loved in their situation by a man. And this man did fall in love with them, and they fell in love with that part of that woman who wants that soft feminine side, but they don't like her side that goes out and gets things done. And they don't like that she has that, and that version of her, that part of her that's like the go-getter, the worker, the bring home the bacon one. They don't like, Keith Urban doesn't like that Nicole is the bigger breadwinner. And that version of herself is more successful at going and getting and hunting and gathering than he is. So he invents different reasons and different ways why the relationship isn't working, when really he just can't accept her stardom and the fact that he's viewing it as living in her shadow, I'm sure. But I think there must be, and I guess this is kind of the question, when I'm saying reinvent the wheel, I'm wondering, do you think that it's possible for a man to be with a way more successful woman like this and not get insecure? And then you add height on top of it, right? Because he's like 5'8" and she's 5'11". I didn't realize she's actually quite tall. And I guess she was also with Tom Cruise, who was also shorter than her. Or at least like on red carpets appeared that way. And on my TikTok and on here, I posted one of my shorts on here of him. He's always on a red carpet wearing super thick platform boots so that he doesn't look as short next to her. And it's actually really embarrassing. I would rather he just be short, because he's still not taller than her at all. He still is looking up to her in these platform shoes. But now we know that it would be even worse. If there's a discrepancy, I think you need to let it be a discrepancy. I don't want him to come out in heels trying to like overcompensate. But I think that really shows his insecurity in general, because what man who's secure about their height is going to wear platform boots next to his wife on every single red carpet and then get pissed when an interviewer asks about his wife, when she's like one of the most famous actresses in the world, right? And I've been watching her stuff. I didn't see Baby Girl, even though I wanted to. I've been watching 9 Perfect Strangers, which I love. Like, she did Big Little Lies, which is fire. She did, I think, Anatomy of a Fall. Is that what it was called? The one where her husband was sleeping with this woman and then ended up killing her, whatever that was. She is one of, like, she's on a generational run of her acting career. And so when a man is with a woman like that, he has to be in or out. He has to be locked in as a support for her. And I honestly think that male musicians maybe don't have that in them. Because here's the thing, a lot of people in music need a certain ego to get where they're going, because you get told no so many times, and because it's just like, it's a thing to do that you need to have a certain kind of a self-belief, which is fine, but I do think it reaches a point, and then it gets to that tipping point, specifically when men are actually really successful, because think of how much performance is involved in their life in a way that a man would not normally be performing. That's odd. I'm not saying it's odd in the sense of like there's something wrong with that person. I'm just saying they're going to have a different dynamic in their brain in regards to support versus stardom. You know, this whole flower rock situation of one person needs to be the flower, one person needs to be the rock, or the star and the rock, whatever. The point is, one person needs to be a grounding force. A lot of time, not that you can't both support each other. You know, I'm talking in extremes. But I think that in a relationship like Nicole and Keith Urban, in Keith Urban with anyone else, he's going to feel like the big dog. He might even, I bet he's dating shorter now. But Keith Urban with Nicole is a shadow of a thought. We didn't even know. I didn't know she was with him for a very long time. I did not know. Because they must have got married when I was young, and I didn't care. And then probably the first thing I saw her in was Moulin Rouge, which was fire, by the way. But she's not, you don't think of Keith Urban when you think of Nicole. You do think of Nicole when you think of Keith Urban. And I think when that's a case for a husband and wife, it's a recipe for disaster. Now, debate me in the comments. Do you think that it's possible to, well, okay, here's what I'll say though. Let me clarify. Let me get specific. I think if a man is not interested in spotlight, maybe it can work. Could he be a successful businessman on the side who has no interest in what I'm doing? That can work. Like, I even think if a man was reasonably successful, like, I'm not saying he's like blowing the like records of wealth, but he has his thing going for him that feels good to him. And if it has nothing to do with performance, like, I don't think you can be in competition with each other, even in asking for attention, if this is gonna work. Oh my God, Alexa, cancel all alarms. Sorry guys, this happens every day. Yep. I feel like if your man was offline, like very much doesn't really care about social media and things like that, then if you were like a star, you could be an actor, a singer, influencer, whatever, then I think that the man won't have as much of an issue. I'm thinking of like Viola Davis. Like, her husband, I'm pretty sure, is just like obscure. Am I wrong? Like, who is he really? But I love that because I think he's like offline. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that can work where the man is like, she's gonna do her thing. I love her. I love when she's in her zone. They need to like when that woman's in the zone. And I feel like with Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, whenever she's in the zone, she's outshining him and he wants to shine. I think the man can't want to shine as bright as the woman does if the woman is a shining star, or it's not going to work. So when people have the impetus to belittle when speaking about their wife in interview, these people in the public eye, I have my doubts. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you next time. Bye.